Ice pack for the phone. Yeah, that doesn't work long term. I mean, that works for like an hour, but if you want to stream for like 7 hours out in the, it doesn't work. And also, it introduces a whole bunch of other problems with like water and heat and weight. And the phone is on, like, typically this phone is on a gimbal when I'm streaming like outdoors. So like it's on a gimbal, and the gimbal motor is right on the back of the phone. It creates heat and causes more problems. But because of the gimbal motor, where do you put an ice pack? And then it doesn't throw the phone off balance and stuff. It's complicated. The correct thing to do is to just have the right phone. I've always liked the idea of motorbike with a sidecar, but the licensing is a pain and the insurance is crazy expensive. Oh, I never thought about that. Yeah, motorcycle. Yeah, I agree with you. It's a romantic image, a motorcycle with a sidecar. And it would be really nice, actually, because we'd be able to carry a bunch of gear and still have both of us on such a device. But I think it kind of, sort of, I've never ridden one, but it probably takes away like the two-wheel fun part and feels more like a car without a top. Don't use ice. Condensation will build up inside the phone. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, probably a problem. But I've also dropped this like in the bathtub with me, like multiple times, like sitting in a tub, and it's like submerged completely, and it just it gives you a message. It's like, I got wet. Don't plug me in for a few minutes, and it's just like, okay, and then it dries out, and it's fine. So I don't know. I don't know if water hurts electronics anymore. It's magic. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't make practical sense to try to cool the phone in those ways. It's just goofy. It is possible though that, so iPhones are without a doubt the best looking cameras, like especially for video. Like this is not even a competition. So I would look at probably an iPhone 13, but there's no software that does bonding with them the way that I want, and that's the most important aspect. Data redundancy is huge. So the stream video would look better with an iPhone, but again, redundancy for data is best for this type of game. But if there was a piece of software that bonded on iPhone and the iPhones didn't overheat, which I think they probably would have that problem because they sometimes overheat already without bonding. If all the things clicked into place with iPhone, that would be if an iPhone that didn't overheat, that could do internal software bonding. That's the solution for streaming, because you don't even have to. Their optical stabilization is so good that you don't have to do a gimbal. You can just walk on a regular tripod. So that eliminates more power. Like a gimbal, not having to carry a gimbal is less stuff you have to power. It creates less heat. It's less weight. So like the dream would be an iPhone, but I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. We'll see. It's like riding an unstable ATV four-wheel motorcycle. Word. Yeah, it's kind of what I figured. Phones that have wireless charging don't have purely back metals. Like on the iPhone, has a layer of glass in the back. Yeah, I said the S22 Ultra was metal. I'm not really sure about that, but I do know that it has like a really good heat dispersion system that this absolutely does not have. But I love how small this phone is. Like for carrying a phone, if I got the S22 Ultra, I don't think I would daily drive it. I think it would just be the streaming phone. I think I would keep using this because I like how small it is. Boogie134, hey, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you hanging out. Here where I live, the government's insurance for injury, and the government made it super high because they want to discourage my motorcycle use. Yeah, like all motorcycle use? People that ride in a sidecar must have nerves of steel. Katie's pretty brave. Streamers are using on iPhones without bonding. Yeah, they are. However, there are a lot of people that are using iPhones that are bonding through something called a Bella box. So they are bonding. Some people are just streaming like raw dogging with one SIM card. And I mean, if you're in really good signal, great, but you're going to end up getting Fs in the stream sometimes. Like, it's just how it is. I know because I do it. But a lot of people are carrying around something called a Bella box, and it's like a little microcomputer, kind of like a Raspberry Pi, but it can do hardware encoding on the actual chip, and they're sending the signal from the iPhone into their Bella box. Their Bella box is then turning it into what's called an SRTLA signal, and it streams it in. It re-encodes the video into H.265 instead of H.264, which is what's coming off the iPhone, and it makes it more efficient, and then it splits it up over multiple. You can have like 12 data signals if you want. That's crazy. Usually people use 2 or 3 is really probably what's most practical, and it pushes that over multiple SIM cards and then goes up to the internet. But a Bella box system is a huge pain in the ass to set up and get stable. It's doable. It absolutely is doable. And if I didn't think that something better was right on the horizon, I would be going down the road of doing a Bella box setup. But I think that if I just wait a few months, I'll probably be able to buy something simpler that does the job better. I'm deep in these communities now. I'm like figuring this shit out. So yeah, a lot of people that are streaming off iPhones are actually bonding. I'll never buy another iPhone, miss having a back button. Yeah, I mean, I've never used an iPhone personally, but MacDrew421, what up? Yeah, I mean, I see the iPhone as like, it's just a tool. I just see it as a tool. 3D Cow, whoa, what's this username? Hold on, wait. 3D Cow Pudding Piece is following. Oh, hey, thank you for the follow. 3D Cow Pudding Piece. I have a lot of questions about your username. We can all dream that the iPhone will at least get USB-C. That's probably in the near future. Isn't the EU leaning on them really hard about that? Yeah, there we go. Weather Lunch is talking about that. They said motorcycles are dangerous and cause bad injuries and death in users, so they wanted to keep it. What part of the world are you in? People who ride them are committed and haven't stopped. I know we've asked. I know. I'm not. As soon as you tell me where you are, I'm probably gonna go. Oh yeah, I've asked this before. Raspberry Pi. Raspberry Pis aren't the solution though. They don't do hardware. They don't do hardware encoding. They were just using an iPhone connection. Some people probably are. Like, I'm not saying there aren't, but I know for certain. I can think of a few people off the top of my head that are streaming an iPhone signal into a Bella box, and the Bella box is pushing it back up to the internet. Canada. Oh, okay, so Canada's trying to make it so motorbike people aren't like a thing? That's a surprise. Oh, just your province. Oh, word. Okay. Interesting. It makes me wonder, like, are motorcycles dangerous or are cars dangerous? Like, if there were no cars, how dangerous would motorcycles be? It's kind of like people talk about, like, bicycling. Bicycling is super dangerous. But if there's no cars around, it's really not. Motorcycling is probably more dangerous than a bicycle, but yeah. Motorcycles are only dangerous to the user. That's mostly true, probably. Mostly. It's probably not universally true. I'm sure a motorcycle can cause damage. I mean, it's like, or like situations where some motorcyclists, like, I mean, extreme example. I know I'm really, this is low hanging fruit, but you see people like on motorcycles just driving like assholes, like swerving through traffic. That probably causes residual accidents sometimes, like where people are like avoiding idiots. But if people aren't driving like morons, they're not. It's hard to be like a responsible motorcycle driver and then plow somebody over and cause as much damage as you would with a car, but you could still fuck somebody up, a pedestrian or somebody else on a bike or something. Yeah, I don't think I would agree with they're only dangerous to the user, but they're not as dangerous as a car. When it's just the iPhone, you can notice when the signal dropped off from the the video product, the quality will go low. Maybe the same thing will happen with like when I stream off my Android or whatever. The software all uses adaptive bitrate, so it notices that the signal drops, so it lowers the quality to keep the stream alive. I mean, to me, that's a good compromise. They're harder to see. I can't tell when people obviously don't know I was there. I mean, at the same time, like, you can cause accidents as a pedestrian. You know what I mean? Like, if you walk out into traffic and somebody slams on their brakes to not hit you, and somebody hits them from behind because of the sudden stop or something like that, you can, like, you know what I mean? You can find case subjects for like every type of thing, but like when you look at it like more generally speaking or whatever. Yeah. We're getting into well, I'm sure that somebody's going to start getting steamed, like, situations, blah, blah, blah. It's complicated. I had to slam on my brakes because of a pedestrian. I would argue, though, that most pedestrian stupidity is caused by poor infrastructure. Not all, but most. And if pedestrian infrastructure was built safer, which it could be, especially in the States, but where we live is not a shining example of good pedestrian infrastructure either. It's just drivers are not insane here. Here comes another helicopter, guys. Somebody hold on to your monitors, y'all. Yeah, I'm way deep. I'm deep on not just bikes. I've read a bunch of the books that his hero, oh God, I can't remember the dude's name. The Strong Towns books, the Strong Towns guy. I've read some of those books too. I'm way down the rabbit hole on this stuff. But I agree, not just bikes. It's really good, like 101. How are drivers in Japan? Drivers in Japan are mostly, generally speaking, when I speak about groups of people, generally speaking is the way to do it. Generally speaking, drivers in Japan are very conscious of their surroundings, which means that like cycling and walking and stuff feels a lot safer. Cars are a lot smaller too, but they're trained to be more like look for bicyclists, look for pedestrians. They're used to that kind of thing being around, so it's a lot safer. It's not so aggressive. It's way not as aggressive as America. American driving is really aggressive comparatively. Speed limits are a lot lower. Roads are designed here too to keep speeds low. So stoplights and stuff are timed out to make people hit red lights to keep them from just blasting through towns at like 50, 60 miles an hour. Like in America, it's the opposite. They like time them out to be green for miles and miles and miles because they don't want traffic congestion. They think that's going to stop it. So it just creates a higher speed situation. Most of it, though, is like the way the infrastructure is laid out here. It keeps the traffic from being quite as bananas. But a lot of it also has to do with like cultural things, with the way people think about others and community things and stuff like that. For YouTube, you have to do a lot of editing. For streaming, no editing, but you have to deal with getting the internet to work. Yeah. Yeah. I've thought about that a lot. You should check out the YouTube. Okay, I saw that. Not just bikes. I've been watching an IRL streamer named Cash. Yeah, I know Cash. I don't know him personally, but I know who he is. He's been experimenting with an iPhone 14 Pro, trying to replace his backpack setup. Mostly good results in Tokyo. I wonder what because he uses a LiveView Solo. So I guess that can ingest. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what he's doing, technologically speaking, how he's bonding off an iPhone 14. I heard him recently, I've seen him recently complaining about Bella Box, so I'd be surprised if he was carrying one around. Sounds like a Chinook. You can tell by the sound? It might have been. Those are the ones with like 2 sets of propellers, right? It could have been. I've seen them around here. I get why the lady felt the need to start early. She's on a walker and the light does. The lady walking across the street. But it rained today for the first time in a while. It was a bad decision for her to step into the crosswalk that early. Yeah, there's solutions for that. Plus, crosswalk should be smarter. It should be able to see when there's somebody in it. Way less drunk drivers, probably. Yeah, I mean, drunk driving does happen here, but I think probably less. It's a zero tolerance thing. If you have alcohol in your system at all, you cannot drive. Period. End of the story. The crumple zones on Japanese cars, though. Yeah, I mean, I can't speak about that intelligently, but yeah, I mean, I guess some of the K cars, if you got in an accident with them, it'd be pretty grim. You just don't see accidents very often here, to be completely honest with you. Like, it's really kind of rare. I don't have any numbers or anything, just like speaking about like what I see. Like, you don't see cars like little tiny fender benders like sometimes, but it's not very often. We saw a gnarly accident though when we were cycling around Fuji. I'm a little worried about the people that were in the vehicle. Thought Cash has like 6 SIM cards. Yeah, he carries a lot of SIM cards. And that makes me wonder what he's doing for bonding with the iPhone. Some Twitch streamers put their Twitch VOD on YouTube. Will you be doing that? I do it sometimes, but I don't put the whole thing up. I don't know. They don't get very many views. So I think it would be better for something like this, I probably wouldn't put it up because, I mean, this is an interaction stream, but for a stream where we're going out and we're exploring and doing something, then ideally I would like to cut out all the parts where nothing is happening and only leave in the interesting bits and have it like not edited heavily, but just, you know what I mean? Just like throwing away the parts that are just like dead air or not interesting or whatever. And then put those up, because like you go out and you do a 7-hour stream, and if you can cut that down to like 30 minutes or something, or whatever it turns out to be, that's what I'd like to do. I don't have time to do it though. It takes a really long time. So the way that would happen is if I could get enough people watching the VOD stuff. It's just chicken and the egg problem. I would want to pay somebody to do it, basically. Like pay somebody on, like if I could get enough ad revenue returning from the VOD viewership, then I would give all the money to a person just to put it up, just to stitch it together. But it's nowhere near making that kind of money. Chinook has a distinct hop, hop, hop sound. Oh, word. I'll try to listen for that. Yeah, we do it for the Us Watching Us videos on Tuesdays. Those are easy to edit though, because it's like I just cut off the front and the back and then re-render it. That's very simple, but chopping things out of longer streams is really hard. If I had to edit out the not interesting parts of my life, there wouldn't be. The Charlotte Airbnb vending machine VOD was fun. Yeah, exactly. Stuff like that. Like, I put that up because that was like specifically kind of interesting. Haven't finished the 7-hour stream from the other day, but did you find a stamp? Oh, yes, but off stream. I forgot about it until I ended the stream. Yeah, no vending machines. I went into a convenience store. But I did get the stamp. But yeah, like that would be an example of a video that probably I could cut a bunch of stuff out and then make a video about it. But again, it's just there's a lot going on right now with our lives. I keep saying that, but like right now, I should probably be editing. I have a lot of stuff I need to edit for October that I haven't even started editing videos for October. Yes, I did buy sunscreen. I bought 2. We needed, we just like keeping sunscreen like in our bike bags, and then like there's some by the front door and some like in the vanity, so that we just remember to put sunscreen on. Have you considered making a top 10 things and sort of thing in Tokyo vid? I don't know. Maybe. We don't do top 10 list stuff very much. We should. It'd be good for our viewership probably. But do I still do? Yeah, I edit everything. I always have. Nobody's ever done any editing for us. Yeah, and it's a lot. It takes a lot of time. Yeah, top 10 things in Tokyo vid. Yeah, I don't know. Those videos do well, I think, but it's just not, I don't know, maybe we should. I want to visit somewhere. I always Google top 10 stuff there, yeah. We kind of have a weird situation too, where it's kind of hard to see Tokyo as through tourist eyes at this point, because we've been here for a decade. Like if somebody was like, okay, where you live, you've lived there for 10 years or whatever, or more or less or whatever, what are the tourist things to do? You might be like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of, it's a weird way to think about things. I'm sure we could come up with stuff, but yeah. The edits feel more personal. I have two opinions about our channel. Would have to be dramatically more successful than it is to afford an editor. Just to be clear, we're nowhere near that. But there would be a tipping point where it would not make financial sense for me to keep doing the edit. But I would also be terrified of handing the edit over to somebody else and having it continue to feel the same way. I think that the editing actually has a lot to do with, I kind of have a light touch with our editing. But I do think that a more skilled editor could probably make our videos more successful, because they would chop them down and make them smaller, and just, but I think it would turn off our current viewership. It's like everything pulls you in different directions like impossible. Let's see here. Revenant 2398, thank you for the follow. I think I got that username right. I appreciate you hanging out. Moochum, I think getting spots to visit from a local is also, yeah, totally, it is kind of valuable. There are things that kind of more popular get skipped. That's true. I'm not saying that we wouldn't be able to do it. I don't know. Top 10 lists. They usually have to be succinct, kind of like snap, 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 burning through the top 10s. We're not very succinct. I think the fun thing about our videos is just like riffing on stuff and having a good time and stuff. So I just don't know if our personalities cut through into a top 10 list. And if that is, I think other people might be better at them. Like it just doesn't mesh with who we are and the type of content we make. I just wonder about that. Maybe we should try and see how it comes out. I don't know. I think there's common fear. Oh, hanging up a scaled editor. Yeah, it would depend. I feel like anybody that edited our videos would have to be pretty familiar with how we do it already, if we wanted to keep it the same. But I think that a skilled editor could probably make our videos more mainstream, our current videos, more mainstream accessible than I do. Because I leave in I don't like, when you watch other bigger channels, they are hitting beats and they're keeping people engaged and boom, 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 and things are really clicking along and there's a rhythm and stuff. I intentionally break that. I see places where I'm okay, I could cut this and cut this and cut this. I could have this rhythm, pop, 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 pop. But I break it on purpose because I want our videos to feel like people are along with us. And I feel like when I watch those other videos that are boom, 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 I feel like it doesn't feel immersive. You feel like you're watching somebody do something rather than being a part of the thing. And we really want to do our best to have people be a part of the thing. That's always been our point. I think it is detrimental to channel growth though. And it's a big reason why we don't have huge viewership. I mean, there's many reasons, but I think that's a big part of it. I think a skilled editor would be able to not worry about that as much as I do. We have different objectives. Nazumi Kozel grave, if it not before. Oh, cool. All you gotta do is get your videos to 750K for each, and you could afford them. Yeah. Honestly, even that would be kind of, yeah, I mean, if we could pump out 3 or 4 videos a month that got 500,000 views, we could afford an editor. If that was a reliable number. Yeah, that's never going to happen. Yo, I'm not going to lie, I saw your shirt and decided to show up. I'm a huge Gore fan. Oh, word. Yeah, I go deep on Gore. Used to live in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is just an hour north of Richmond. So we used to spend a lot of time going out to Gore shows and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, I've been to a shit ton of Gore shows, like probably 20 or 30 Gore shows over the time period that I think the first Gore show I saw was 96 or 97, I think, maybe. Somewhere in that time period. And I was deep on them for a long time. Been to a lot of DBX shows. I went to the first Gorebarbecue. Actually, I'm going to do a little bragging here for the one Gore fan, for one person that knows that I might be talking about. I kind of coined the term Gorebarbecue. Back on Dave Brock. Oh, my battery died on my light. Sorry, guys. It's going to be a little darker. Back on my on odorous.com, but it was before it was registered as odorous.com. Dave Brocky's message board. It wasn't even a message board. It was a guest book. It was being used as the message board. And he mentioned, like, we're going to have a barbecue at the Slave Pit, which is what their practice space was called. And I was like, all right, Gorebarbecue. I was the first person to write it, and then it became the Gorebarbecue after that. That's my one claim to fame. Rinkai. Rinki. Rinaki. Let's do it with Japanese. Rinaki. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you hanging out. How was the initial wave of tourists entering the country handled? I have no idea. It's like it started, isn't today? Yeah, today is the first day. Or yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see anything. They're talking about it sometimes on the news. I saw them talking about it, like things. I saw a news report that was like things tourists are worried about coming to Japan. And it was like having to wear a mask everywhere. And like some of it was like tourists, like having to be in a tour group, because that's not applicable anymore. And it was like breaking it from like, these are the people from Southeast Asia, and these are the people from America, and these are the people from Europe, and what they're worried about. But I haven't seen anything specific about how the initial, like yesterday went. I hate jump cuts. I think they work in certain content, but I don't, it's not for us. I'm way back on the chat, sorry. Get to the Tokyo Fire Department Choppa. I think it'd be cool to see what locals like, even when where Katie and Eric vibe places. It'd be different. All right, we'll see what we come up with. Feel very confused watching that style where they just jump locations and sites instantly without explanation. Yeah. So I mean, some people do it good, some people do it bad. You know what I mean? Like there are some people who are really good at making the key to making a video. You got to make sure you maintain a cohesive narrative. Like that's really important. Even if you're jumping around a lot, it has to make sense. So some people fail at that. Some people are better at it. Sometimes you're seeing jump cuts, and you don't even know it, and that's when it's done really skillfully. Actually, we do use jump cuts in our videos, but you almost never see them because they're underneath B-roll. But usually it's like me cutting out one of us like going for a long time or something. Like it's like I'm not cutting out content. I'm just cutting out like things that I find annoying when I watch the videos. But it's actually not that common. Katie and Eric recommends list. I think I've been watching you guys the longest time. Yeah, man, you've been with us for a long time. Because it feels personal. That's what we're hoping for. I went to Atlanta for Scumdog's 30th. Oh, nice. Yeah, I don't think, did I ever see them? We saw them in North Carolina. I saw them in Pennsylvania. Seen them in DC a bunch, 930 Club. I'm trying to think if I ever saw them any outside of, I don't think so. We should have a Gore emote. Yeah, I agree with that. Maybe we should. Whoops, Katie, not Kyle. Autocorrects. Oh, I didn't even notice it. My brain just like merges it, I think. Oh, Kyle and okay, you did right that. On YouTube, one YouTube video showed it was taking about 2 hours between flight landing, being able to exit. Yeah, I heard it was going to be a bit of a shit show. I'm also a juggalo, so gatherings are where you've seen them the most. Oh, word. I don't dip into that universe, but I go pretty deep on Gore. I don't remember when I started watching. It's been a while. Word. Guys, I think I am going to call it a game, call it a stream here, because I do need to go edit a bit. It's already 3 o'clock. Is there anybody, we got a raid earlier, so is there anybody streaming right now that has kind of like, you know, a cool vibe going on that maybe we should throw a thing at? How about we do Naoki again? Naoki seems like a nice guy. I don't know him. He lives in Osaka. I believe he's a Japanese guy. And he does bike rides every day. I believe he speaks English. So say what's up to Naoki. We're going to start the raid here in a minute. I got to remember it. Naoki_travel. I got to get to the stream manager. And then I gotta type it right. Yeah, I try to raid people that have smaller followings, if possible. Just, you know what I mean? Like kind of spread some love a little bit, you know what I mean? Which one of you is more opposed to doing the OnlyFans? We can't afford the hot tub. But yeah, hey, thanks for hanging out, guys. This was just like a chill one. If you're new to us, like we try to do streams actually walking around Japan and doing stuff. So keep an eye out for that kind of thing in the future. And I think, oh, I typed it wrong. This is our YouTube channel. If you're new to us as well, like that's where we do most of our stuff is there. But this is a place we hang out too. And now we got like a 40-second thing. Put that hot tub on Patreon target really quick. We could put a hot tub where the bikes sit inside of the house. It's totally a thing. It's also getting a little cold out here. The sun has kind of disappeared. Yeah, let's see. 20 more seconds and then we got the raid. It's always the awkward. I gotta think of something to do that's less awkward than talking about how awkward it is. Just kind of come in here. 6 seconds. See y'all later.
Hi, Leander recorded my stream with 41.
Thank you, Ray. We're from later. Sorry, I don't know. Thank you. Welcome. Eric, okay. Welcome. I'm Osaka living in IRA stream. Every day, but I don't stream in Japan time for 3 p.m. That is